The acting in Who's Crazy / My Psychopharmacologist and I is pretty realistic, and I would even say relatable, especially compared to some of the other songs, as the other songs tend to heighten it more and exaggerate more to symbolize the mania and instability that Diana is experiencing. But this song really puts to light the struggles and frustrations that come with being put on a new medication, and I find that quite realistic. There is some exaggeration, but it's mostly in the form of the set design and costumes, as the characters kind of switch to these doctor characters as they're wearing lab coats and come out of the fridge in one of the parts of the song, but I will touch more on that later with the set design. In this song, Dan is reminiscing a lot about what their life used to look like before all the doctors and all the medications that his wife was put on.
And I was a wild 25, and I loved a wife so alive, but now I believe I would settle for one who can drive.
This particular part of the song teaches us a lot about the relationship between Dan and Diana, as before this, they seemed like a fairly happy family, but now we can see those walls kind of breaking down as they both really just want to go back to how things were. And at this point in the story, we don't know why things changed, so this serves as a bit of suspense and even a little bit of foreshadowing. Diana in this song is really just looking for some stability in her life, as every medication she's tried so far has given her really terrible side effects.
Got less anxiety, but I have headaches and blurry vision, and I can't feel my toes.
So we'll try again, and eventually we'll get it right.
Not a very exact science, is it?
Dr. Fine is also looking for Diana to have some stability, but not exactly in the same way, as at the end of the song, this is the exchange that happens.
16 weeks.
I don't feel like myself. I mean, I don't feel anything.
Uh-huh. Patient stable.
The last characters and the last relationship that's present in the song is between Natalie and Henry. They don't have a very big role in this song, so we don't get to learn a whole lot about their relationship, but we do learn that Henry is clearly a stoner.
Oh, you're one of those pretentious stoner types.
That's totally not fair. I'm not pretentious.
At this point in the story, both of those characters haven't known each other for very long, so they're really just getting to know each other at this point. There's also this child, but he is not in this song very much, and he doesn't really have any motivations. So yeah, this moment could have just been dialogue, and a lot of the song actually is quite a lot of dialogue, but the musical elements really honestly add a bit of humor into a quite serious topic and engage the viewers in a much higher way.
These are a few of my favorite pills.
The humor is really shown here, as they're doing a bit of satire on the song My Favorite Things by switching that out with My Favorite Pills. And this really reveals again the hardship and the struggle that Diana's facing, as she just can't find the right medications for her. This song really moves the story forward, and we can definitely see that instability with Diana present even in just the music itself and not the lyrics.
It's like an odd romance, intense and very intimate.
You can hear that right when Diana starts talking. There's a lot of dissonance in that piano part, which I definitely think serves to express that instability in a non-verbal way. And to add on to the development of the storyline, the ending where she's put on those pills that just make her feel very numb is a very important detail and really drives the story forward and sets in motion basically the rest of the play. The movement in this part of the song that I have in the background is really interesting, and you can see that they have pill bottles in their hands that they're actually using as kind of maracas as they're singing about all the terrible side effects that might come with the medications. So you can see that the choreography in this part especially is very high energy compared to the parts where they're just speaking normally and talking about the medications. Another thing I'd like to note is how the doctor carries himself. As you can see, he has his legs crossed here, And this is a pretty small detail, but it really shows how laid back he is and how he's just willing to take the easy way out. Another cool small detail here is you can see that Diana's bouncing her leg, which people tend to do when they're anxious or nervous. The set design is honestly one of my favorite parts of this musical, because it stays very consistent throughout, and they really just use lighting to guide the viewer's eyes, and of course they'll use some props like the piano there and the chairs, but it's mostly just lighting, so you can see the light straight in the middle where they're sitting, so that your focus isn't on that kitchen in the background, which stays there the entire time, but you don't really notice that it's there, except for when they want you to, like when they're coming out of the fridge. And they have that, like, neon sign that says Fine on it for, obviously, Dr. Fine. And then with their costumes, they have those lab coats on when they're in those strange doctor characters. And then they'll quickly take the lab coats off when they switch back to their actual characters, which is a really cool detail. As you can see, they just change it on stage. You can see the lab coats on the ground, and they'll just throw them on the ground quickly. Of course, as this musical is a pro shot, there's a lot of changes in the camera angles. Obviously, their focus is on the characters that are speaking at the current moment or just need the most attention drawn to them, but it's really interesting to look in the background and see what all the other characters are doing. Like, you can see Gabe is back there just swaying around. This musical number is effective because it's very relatable for a lot of people. It's unfortunately a very common experience for people to either experiment with a lot of different medications and just not find anything that works for them, or have a doctor that prescribes them something that really doesn't work for them at all. This musical number also very effectively blends a quite serious topic with a bit of humor in it, and that keeps people engaged and makes it more enjoyable to watch, because not everybody wants to sit around and watch a super depressing musical number. This number also really seamlessly incorporates dialogue into the actual number, and at the start, it starts off with just Dr. Madden talking to Diana, and then it switches to Dan singing, and then goes back to talking and back to singing, and that kind of just repeats over and over again throughout the song. And it is a very common thing for musicals to do that, but I really enjoy how they did it, and especially in this particular piece, because some of these relationships do need to be shown solely through dialogue, like between Henry and Natalie, because we don't know exactly how they interact with each other yet, so that dialogue is very important. And then with Dr. Fine and Diana, because they have a very professional relationship, Dr. Fine doesn't sing at all during the song, with the exception of the few ensemble parts where everybody is singing, but it's not really his character singing. And that's another thing I really like about this musical, is all the characters that you see on the stage right now are the only characters in the entire musical, so they end up playing a bunch of different roles with the lab coats and in different scenes. I mean, there's a different doctor, but he's played by the same person, and then they end up being doctors again when Diana's getting shock therapy.